Hello, my name is Perry. Welcome to episode 111 of BPerryFilms podcast. In today's episode, you're just like me and you're trying to figure out ways to pivot your business. And I have been able to successfully reach many milestones. I got to teach about 200 students, I think 200 students exactly in webinar presentations. I got to speak in front of 300 people for a speaking engagement. I have worked with numerous brands that I always looked up to. Many of you who follow me on LinkedIn know that I work for QuickBooks and JustWorks and stuff like that. And they have been able to provide resources for many of my clients and help people become more accountable with their finances. If you haven't watched my video, episode 110 of BPerryFilms podcast, I talk about my vision board and how I want to make $100,000 in this calendar year. And I think the main thing that I want to focus on is making sure that I create resources that help me become recession proof, having different streams of income. So, stressing how do I balance stocks? How do I balance webinars? How do I balance courses? How do I balance the podcasts? Because I have more web series coming. And I want many of you to start subscribing to the YouTube channel, sharing with other people, write down in the comments what you have enjoyed, what has transformed your mindset and goals and objective. And for me, some of the main points are making sure that I have consistent income coming in each month. So I have to think, okay, let me spend a month of creating content. Okay. So I have my sheet of content creation of what I'm going to do for the quarter. So I know how many guests that I need to have featured, what brands I need to deliver with, whether it's an ad read, a full dedicated video, a newsletter, or something like that. I need to know what is going to be my set income for the month. And then I know I'm going to be promoting webinar presentations. Okay, I know that I'm going to do at least 7 to 10 webinars each year. So I need to think, okay, am I going to do one each month and take a month off here and there? And then I want to figure out, okay, I know that I have a fundraiser event that I host annually. Eventually, I'll have like a set date of when I'm going to do it, but I know that I try to gross a big bulk of money so I can invest in software, hardware, all the things that it costs to run a successful podcast, a service-based business, because many people think you can start a business for free, and it's just not that simple. And everything that you have from running your business at home, you gotta pay for rent, utilities, Wi-Fi. All these different things cost money. Your phone, your Zoom, your Riverside, your Metricool, your software such as QuickBooks, your payroll, your employees. So many things that you have to invest in that people don't talk about. When you hear people say how to start a business for free, or how to start a business with no money, or how to start a business without a business plan, avoid those videos right away because that's just setting you up for failure. Number two, making sure that you stay accountable for everything that you do. Make sure that you have a set agenda of, I'm gonna accomplish this no matter what. It doesn't matter how sick I am or whatever I have to do. If you have to batch record, change the outfit, change the attire, change the whole theme of everything, go do it as long as it makes sense. Make sure that you have everything written down on pen and paper. I cannot stress enough. I believe in my first 50 episodes of my podcast, I always said, first step to achieving a goal is to have a pen and paper and writing everything down, and it will keep you accountable to achieving your goal. And I might have to start repeating this every episode because I don't think people have heard it enough or have implemented enough, because if you don't write things down, you're not going to remember. And if you're like me, I have brain farts all the time. Like, I could be working on something and someone interrupts my frame of flow. It kind of throws me off, and then I have to kind of reset of like, okay, what was I just doing? So it's a very relatable moment, but it keeps you on track. Like I said, invest in planners, create that goals pro technique, create a business plan, get a budgeting software or whatever. Learn how to do everything yourself. If you don't want to invest in software, go on Numbers or Excel sheet, write down everything that you have paid for, what is your budget for the year, and just subtract everything from there. And make sure that you have everything recorded, because you have to pay taxes at the end of the year and you have to file your taxes every year. And make sure that you do it on time so you don't have to pay any extra. Number three, finding support. You're not always going to find support from your family or your friends, so sometimes you're going to have to find support from other people. So being able to go to social gatherings, such as networking events, like I said, I host webinars, especially when I have the webinars called Black Connect or the fundraiser event and stuff like that. I have people come together and network. I think in every webinar presentation, I have like a 15-minute Q&A, and then around 5 or 10 minutes extra, I might stay and I let people talk about their business, what do they do, ask questions amongst each other, and people really exchange connections, and you'll be surprised who is a guest on my next podcast or webinar presentation, you know? So you just have to just think of everything like that. And when you give advice to people, make sure that it comes from a good place and not more of like, I don't want them to do better than me. You want to make sure that everyone feels like they can be successful too if they work hard on their own or with other people. The next one is making sure that you have skills. Don't try to be an expert online and not know what you're talking about. I know there's many people saying, I want to be a millionaire in a year, and they just tell you the stream of how they're going to become a millionaire, and all the presentations are how to make your first $10,000 doing this, 20,000 doing that. And then when you attend their webinars, they're making money off of you because they're selling you that dream. But at the end of the day, you're not really learning anything because you haven't learned any skills. You know, if it's going to be about public speaking, the presentation should be on public speaking. It shouldn't be on something that's not relevant to it, if that makes sense. So that's what I want to bring to the table. There's other goals that I want to accomplish. I'm debating on if I want to make a newsletter, kind of like outlining some of my thoughts. But I thought those were the main components of pivoting my business, because, like I said, I have big goals and I want to make sure that everyone who does business with me or is a student of mine feels welcome and feels supported in some type of way, because I was just like you, had an idea, but not everyone's ambition started at age 6 like me. Like, I remember going to my dad when I was 6 years old, and he used to write in his notebook like all of his expenses of what he has paid for his credit card, his debit cards, and stuff like that, allocating his money, and then going into the room and saying, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Budgeting." And I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean? Can you show me?" And it kind of propelled me, and then I started creating side hustles and putting performances at home, doing a lot of performances, and really helping people out. And then I got my first part-time job when I turned 14, when I was able to legally work for someone. But you start picking up little skills when you're young. So what that you're 6 or 7 years old, you learn how to do chores, so washing the dishes, cleaning the steps, mopping the floors, and it starts adding up pretty quick. That $20 will turn into $40, and you just keep saving and saving. And then when you buy your first toy or video game at the time, and you're just like, I bought it for myself. It makes you feel that much more fulfilled, and it feels like you actually own something, and it makes you feel somewhat of like an adult without the responsibilities of being an adult, because who wants to pay bills? But hopefully this video has gave you insight of how I will pivot my business, and hopefully some of these tips will help you pivot your business in the right direction. It doesn't always have to be financially going in a straight streak of making a ton of money, because there will be dips because you have to spend money. But your goal is to grow as much as you can, grow as much as you can, educate knowledge-wise and financially, and making sure that you build the support that you need. Like I said, attend those network events, making sure that you're speaking up for yourself, learning how to delegate, show up, and deliver, and always having a game plan. Always have a plan B, a plan C, and learn how to maneuver, because as you're running your business, you have to be adaptable because anything can happen. See how the pandemic hit us out of nowhere. If we plan ahead of time when we start hearing about it and not think, oh, it'll never happen in the United States, it can happen everywhere. So just future-proof yourself and keep yourself accountable. Follow me on YouTube and Substack, BPerryFilms Experience, TikTok and Instagram, BPerryFilms, and LinkedIn, Bobby L. Perry. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.